Time to talk about a touchy subject. Very touchy, very sensitive, and literally very touchy. We're talking about Joe Biden and his borderline molestation of women and sometimes men in full view of the public. Now, the media, for a lot of reasons, have chosen to ignore this clearly inappropriate behavior, but it's a thing. It's happening. It has happened, and we're not going to ignore it. So I want to take you back to 2013. The Tsarnaev brothers, the Boston Marathon bombing, we all know about that. You're looking at Dick Donahue. He was shot by one of the Tsarnaev brothers. He's a hero, and he made a full recovery after being shot. Here's a picture of him with his wife, Kim Donahue. Both great people by all accounts. There they are. So what does he get for his heroism? Joe Biden hitting on his wife. Yeah, apparently that happened. First, Joe Biden definitely came to Boston a year after the bombing and made a speech.
We are Boston. We are America. We respond. We endure. We overcome. And we own the finish line.
Own the finish line. Okay, but Joe being Joe, you know, there was a lot of downtime between ceremonial events, and this is from Kim Donahue, as first reported by the Washington Examiner. She put these statements up on Facebook reportedly years ago. This is what Joe Biden reportedly said to her. "Look at those eyes. Where did you get those eyes?" Donahue wrote. "Anyone else as good looking as you in that family? Those eyes are mesmerizing. People must just do whatever you say." Okay, just words at that point. But here it goes. Biden greeted me, she writes, by rubbing my back in an inappropriate and uncomfortable way, then pushed her husband, Dick Donahue, who was shot in the leg by one of the Tsarnaev brothers, aside. It goes on. Joe Biden then asked if I wanted to ride in a car with him down to a ceremony we were all attending at the marathon finish line. He led me down a black hallway. Dick, of course, followed, the husband, and I got inside the most uncomfortable three-person car ride I have ever been in. I couldn't get out of that car fast enough. I practically dove into the pavement. All right, nothing happened in the car. The husband was right there. Does this sound like the Joe we know? Joe Biden? Of course it does. We've seen the video, and this perhaps is a picture that says it all. Joe nuzzling a stranger, and look at the guy on the side there. He doesn't like what's happening. I don't know if that's his woman or what, but it's not a cool situation at all. Of course, the allegations surrounding Joe have been far more serious than being overly flirtatious and just an overall touchy guy. He was accused, quite credibly, of sexual assault. And the media did everything they could to ignore this story. When they finally had to do it, they held their nose. They did it for one day and then moved on. Megyn Kelly, the broadcaster, she followed up, though, with Tara Reid. And she could place herself in Joe Biden's office in the early 1990s. And this is what she said happened at one point.
He had his hands underneath my clothes, and it happened all at once. I wanted to say stop, and I thought it. I don't know if I said it, but sometimes, you know, when I've had a couple bad dreams or a few bad dreams about it, I wake up yelling that. I wake up yelling stop.
Joe denies all of that, but she has a lot of substantiating evidence. She worked for him. That's part of the public record. We know that. Her mother made a phone call to Larry King Live around that time and asked, hey, if my daughter is being hassled by a senator, what should she do? And the town, everything she said, it all checked out. Now, when Biden gets questioned about this, and again, he did deny Tara Reid's accusations, but as far as touching people, yeah, he did it. And quite frankly, he's not that sorry about it. He's not sorry.
I'm not sorry for any of my intentions. I'm not sorry for anything that I have ever done. I've never been disrespectful intentionally to a man or a woman.
But there are dozens of people now on the record who say that Joe Biden made them feel uncomfortable, that he was touching them inappropriately. Look at these pictures over here. And again, he's not sorry. And again, the media doesn't care. Why not? Remember Judge Kavanaugh, now Justice Kavanaugh? Remember what he went through based on what Blasey Ford remembered? She couldn't remember much. She couldn't remember the year, the month. Couldn't remember who was there. It was just the vaguest, weirdest story. And we had televised hearings. The whole country was captivated. There is so much more evidence and details about what Joe Biden may have done, and they just kind of blow it off. Isn't that wild? Hey, something I suggest everybody takes another look at, the debate. I watched it once, of course, that first night, and we talked about it last night, but then I watched it again today. And a couple of takeaways. Number one, the energy disparity between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. One guy looks like, yeah, he's full of it, full of energy. The other guy, Joe, just the physicality of these two men and the energy that was emerging. Try watching a little bit with the sound off. It's kind of stark. Also, that whole thing about, oh, the president interrupted too much. He was interrupting far too much. It was something of an illusion, actually. You see, it's the way they reacted. It's the way they reacted. Now, first of all, there was open discussion. That's what they said. It was open discussion after the question. So you're allowed to jump in, right? But first, I want to show you a portion where Donald Trump is interrupted by Joe Biden. Watch his reaction. He gets interrupted, but he just kind of rolls with it. He moves on.
We took away the individual mandate. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is. And that destroyed, that they shouldn't even call it Obamacare.
See that? That's the way it is. He just moved on. Okay, he acknowledged it and then continued with his point. Joe Biden can't do that. He gets flabbergasted when he gets interrupted, and he starts saying some pretty ugly things.
Will you shut up, man? Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Who's on your list?
Gentlemen, I think
this
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe.
They sure
47 years, you've done nothing. They understand.
All right.
When he gets interrupted, again, he gets overly aggressive because he can't roll with it. He's trying to remember those index cards that he was learning in the basement. And as far as Donald Trump interrupting and making points and asking Joe Biden questions, he had to do that because the moderator would not. He would not ask Joe Biden sensitive questions, and he would not insist on answers from Joe Biden to his own questions. Watch this, a portion of which you just saw, but I want to show you the whole thing from question to the end of the segment.
Are you willing to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take on that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American people should speak. You should go out and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now.
Are you going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know you're a senator. I'm not going to answer the question
Why wouldn't you answer that
because
question?
the question is
Radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Who's on your list?
Gentlemen, I think
this
we've
is
ended
so
this.
He's going to pack the court.
We have
not going to give a list.
We have ended this segment. We're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it?
It's wild. Biden does not answer the question, just says, go vote, and gets away with it. Donald Trump insists on an answer. It was a pretty straightforward question. Are you going to stack the court? What about the filibuster? He won't answer it, just tells everybody to vote. And Donald Trump has to ask that question because the moderator, Chris Wallace, will not do his job. And then Joe Biden has the nerve at the end there to complain that it wasn't a productive segment. Maybe if he had given an answer, debate and exchange of ideas, he wouldn't do that. I think Donald Trump was right because he's afraid of the left. Here's another moment that we didn't get to last night, and I really want to show it to you. The whole Charlottesville lie that the president did not condemn white supremacy. I couldn't believe that Chris Wallace brought up Charlottesville, but did not bring up that part of the story. Watch.
Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville 3 years ago, when he talked about very fine people on both sides, was what directly led you to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, sure. Again, Joe Biden says that. It's part of his story. When I heard Donald Trump say both sides, then I knew I had to be a candidate. Now, when Chris brought it up, I thought he was going to basically blow the lid off of that story because it's fake. Because Donald Trump did condemn white supremacism like 2 seconds after he said to find people on both sides.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
So you have Chris Wallace basically assisting in a fiction, in a lie. And I think that's appalling. But again, like I told you even before the debate, I'm not surprised. Chris Wallace, high on his own supply, getting a lot of good press for a lot of years. I don't think working as hard as he used to. I noticed it a couple of months ago when he sat down with Donald Trump at the White House. This was, gosh, interrupting the President of the United States with false information. Watch.
Why is it so bad right now?
They've run them poorly. It was always bad, but now it's gotten totally out of control. And it's really because they want to defund the police. And Biden wants to defund the police.
Sir, he does not.
Sir, he does not. Sir, he does not. And they went back and forth about that. Sir, he did. He actually said out loud to Addie Barkin, he agreed, yes, with defunding the police. It exists. It's part of the public record. And to just try to call the president out like that, it really works in the swamp, but it does not work in the rest of the country. Finally, I want to tell you a little bit about the biggest lie in, oh, and there he is. This is what motivates the guy and so many Washington and New York reporters and anchors, celebrity, fame and fortune, hanging out with George Clooney at Lake, whatever it is, the one he likes in Italy, Cuomo, something like that. All right, folks, I want to wrap it up with this. So I will fight for you. You've heard that before. Campaign promise. It is the biggest lie in politics that they tell all the time.
Oh, I will fight for you.
I know you, and I will fight for you.
I will fight for you.
That I will be a senator who will fight for you.
To young and new voters, I will fight for you.
Huh? You see why Donald Trump disrupts the system so much. They don't mean it. They just want to get to Washington, D.C. and go along and get along and take care of themselves, their families. If some good work can be done along the way, sure, but they're interested in their careers. They're not interested in us. Now, when Donald Trump went down there, yeah, he promised to fight, and we see it all the time. The guy fights. I mean, look at that. And I think that's what people notice. You know, he's been shut down by a Democrat Congress, of course, but they see that he's fighting. He's fighting hard. He's trying to deliver. He is delivering. Most politicians, they don't. So this is something that I don't think the Democrats are factoring in. We've been watching him for a long time, and we know he's working hard. All right, folks, finally tonight, kind of a cool treat. Take a look at this. The president's Twitter page, right? Donald Trump, 86 million followers. Guess who he retweeted just a few minutes ago? That's me, Greg Kelly. I suggest you follow me as well. I'm going viral right now. Look at this. 2,000 comments. The numbers are going way, way high. Now, what is it that I said today at about 11 o'clock as I was hanging around the house? Kayleigh McEnany, incredible press secretary. She's doing a good job. I just gave her a shout out. Had no intention of this thing going anywhere. And how about that, huh? At Greg Kelly USA, I highly recommend it. Stay with us.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.